Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. We are on the map Golden Aura, the AI edition of course, as we have two contestants but not two players. As these are two bots going to be going up against each other. In the top left, it's Zozo. And in the bottom right, it is Raiden P. So Zozo going to be taking on Raiden, which is a bot that I've cast a couple of times recently. The games were very exciting to watch. And so I'm excited to see how PvP will take place between these two, as it is a matchup that you have to be very careful in PvP, as Protoss can get a lot of damage done very quickly. It seems almost more so to other Protoss players. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, you guys are the best at doing it. Look at that like button, and add one more like to it. If we can hit 55 likes on this video, that would be amazing. And leave a comment down below that says more bots if you want to see more bots, more boats, more bananas, more bagels, more bread, whatever it may be. Leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. And as this game gets started, we take a look here. We have got a double gateway play from Zozo, whereas Raiden just going for one gateway to start things off. One gateway, double gas, but not mining from the second gas yet. And so a bit of an interesting build from Raiden. Zozo, if I was to look at its build, I'd say, well, this almost looks like a human player, as it's virtually indistinguishable at this point. We've got Raiden going for the for the quick nexus in a PvP. I love to see how fast these bots can expand, as their macro is just insane. Now, we've got an expo on the way for Zozo as well, so no units made yet for Zozo. Just firing up a Stalker now. We've got one Stalker on the way for Raiden, so things will come out very evenly. We've got, interestingly enough, no early Adept harassment from either of these bots, which is kind of interesting, because if you play Protoss on the StarCraft 2 ladder or in a 1v1, you'll learn that in PvPs. It's pretty much, when it's not about cannon rushes, it's about early 2-gate Adepts. That's one of the lessons you have to learn when you play Protoss. So it's interesting to see that Raiden can get away without walling, and I'll have to watch a few more of these bot PvPs to see if that strategy is ever brought out, or it would be interesting to hear why double Adept openings don't seem to be too big of a factor. Anyway, as far as the builds go this game, we've got a Robo on the way for each bot, a Twilight on the way for Raiden, so a little bit faster tech already, but nothing too significant this game. Although, I mean, the Twilight is actually a little bit significant. We've got a bit of a poke from the Stalker of Raiden. However, it's 3v1, not that the bots seemingly are counting that. Looks like Zozo almost gonna get that Stalker. It just might if Raiden adjusts or goes around a corner. Looks like that's not going to be the case. Then these units are going to run into each other. Stalker versus Stalker. Zozo's going to have to get its friends to come help out. However, they're dilly-dallying. A little bit of odd unit movement there from Zozo, as it's one Stalker. It looks like it will go down here, actually. Although Raiden is just retreating, not making use of that high ground there. So some very odd unit control already being showcased here by Zozo. However, they are bots after all, and so we'll just take a look. We've got a Warp Prism on the way for Zozo's, so Zozo is going for what seems to be a simple build, just 2-gate Chrono boosting out these Stalkers, and probably going to get aggressive with the Prism, I imagine. Looks like it has not gone for Warp Gate either, so it's just relying on normal old gateway production. 30 seconds a Stalker, so that's gonna slow it down, particularly when it's got the Prism as well. It can't really warp in units when it doesn't have Warp Gate with its Warp Prism, and so Zozo going for a very basic attack. Raiden, we'll see if it can hold off. Raiden has got quite a Sim City here, multiple pylons, multiple batteries up. Looks like one of those batteries does get targeted down. Now, it's all going to be about this Prism Micro coming out of Zozo. Blink is out for Raiden, however, so both bots can micro to save their units. It looks like the Concave is pretty good for Zozo here. So, injures a lot of the Stalkers for Raiden, but then loses one Stalker, but then gets a Stalker. There's a battery overcharge, and an Immortal is now out for the blue bot. So, looks like Raiden should be completely fine here, particularly if this Immortal just starts popping off Stalkers, which it's very close to being able to do. It's still a constant fight, but attacking into batteries and Immortals doesn't really work for non-upgraded Stalkers with not really any reinforcements. We do, however, see a very quick third base on the way up for Zozo, so the bot trying to get an economic lead behind this. It's now microing with its Prism against this Immortal. However, the Immortal pops its battery, or its shield, its barrier, that's the word I'm looking for. It might just go down, but no, it looks like it will clean up all those Stalkers. So 8 kills on that Immortal, 11 Stalkers for 3. That is a disastrous trade for the red bot, and that is big damage. Now, both bots are going for a third behind this. We've got a Dark Shrine on the way for Raiden. There is Robos out for both bots, but no Observers just yet. Interesting probe placement for Zozo. I imagine it'll transfer those once that Nexus is done. There we go. Good to see that. And then we have got Forge is done for both bots, but Raiden is getting out +1, whereas there's no such thing for Zozo, and Zozo is still just fighting here. And its micro is really questionable at this point. Attacking into more supply than its opponent has, or into more supply than it has, losing its Prism, really losing everything, and just producing off of 2 Gate Stalkers still. That is not really good to see. It's got a 4th Nexus on the way, however, so these bots really, really like their expansions. There was a Dark Shrine being produced, so in 20 seconds we're going to see if Raiden actually makes those DTs or not. Good to see, though, that DTs are an option in bot versus bot matches. And things are just looking a little bit better for Raiden. While the economy is looking promising for Zozo, I mean, it's not utilizing Warp Gate, no upgrades. Its micro's been incredibly questionable. And so Raiden is just looking like the superior bot so far. However, there's always a chance. It's bot versus bot. It's kind of just like, it's kind of like bumper cars. You never know you never know which bot's gonna get knocked around a little bit harder. As like sometimes a bot will just go for a strategy that completely deflects its opponents, but so far it looks like that Zozo is just not having success here. It's not transitioning into anything else. Like if it was going into, say, air units or something, who knows, but then loses its Immortal that's just so far down on supply, it suddenly decides it's cannon time, as I assume it has seen something invisible. Perhaps one of the DTs got noticed, or it might have been that Observer, funnily enough, that triggered the building of the cannons for Zozo, but I don't know if that really matters this game. Just with the trades that Zozo is taking, it's not really pooling its units. And so, yeah, that Prism goes down. Let's see, it's killed still only 3 Stalkers. It's literally thrown away just like 20 units for getting nothing of its opponents. And so Raiden is looking real good here. We've got a couple Zealots going in for some harassment, but with the cannons and the battery, I mean, Zozo should be fine. However, the problem is the main army attacking into the 4th base. Looks like Zozo was saying it's probe pulling time, but it's just a strong attack here from Raiden, and I do not think Zozo is going to be able to hold on. It may need some work in regards to how it handles its units, as, yeah, just it needs to do some better pooling or decide to take better fights. Like, its Stalker micro is pretty good, but it's just the fact that it was like attacking across the map with a Prism but no Warp Gate, and then actually with just way less units than its opponent has. Like we're seeing right now, the Stalkers for Zozo are actually taking pretty good angles, that kind of thing, getting really efficient shots off, but then it's just been fighting the whole game with like half the units its opponent has, and you don't just lose half as much. It's just armies of scale, right? Like the bigger army usually comes out way more ahead, and Zozo is holding on for now against what Raiden has, but it's down half the workers, it's down the upgrades as well. No +1 attack started for it, whereas Raiden has got +2. Raiden's got a 4th and a 5th on the way, and so I think we are going to see a bit of an anticlimactic game here, unfortunately, but a good game nonetheless. I'll definitely check out more Zozo games in the future, see if its behavior has changed at all, or maybe if it has different builds or other things like that, but still a very cool bot to see. Its unit control really is the thing I can compliment it the most on. When it actually has a decent number of units, its stalker positioning seems pretty good, but then just the fact that it's been fighting with way less units, hasn't had the upgrades, that kind of thing, very problematic. And yeah, Raiden just looking pretty solid. Was able to defend that aggression with relative ease. Gone for charge lots now, which is cool to see. A bot utilizing charge lots is really exciting. The next is finishing up, units kind of just trickling across the map for Raiden at this point. DT denying mining on the 3rd base. This DT is up to 10 kills. The pylons were killed. There actually is an observer, pardon me. That DT, of course, not being targeted down as there's bigger fish for Zozo to fry right now. And Zozo is hanging on. It's a constant trade for now, but that 3rd Nexus is going to go down, however. And all these units are perishing, unfortunately. So I'll take this time to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a bot author and you watch these games, please do send in your bot replays for me to cast. I appreciate ones that are kind of hand-picked, as they're always great to see. And so, big thanks to everyone who does send those in. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this bot game, enjoyed this cool micro from Zozo and Raiden. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. Consider becoming a YouTube member if you want to support the channel. That's the best way to do so. You can check out the various perks for that. Probes are being pulled from Zozo, so like it does have quite a bit of redundancy. The fact that it says, alright, I'm in danger, I better pull those probes, but it's just opening and overall strategy. Needs a little bit of tweaking here. And then, who knows, maybe it could have won this game, as Raiden is just expanding behind this, spending its money pretty darn well, warping in more units. And that natural will be broken, so that is going to be that. I think it's safe to say at this point, although Zozo really did fight until the end, that's for sure.